firefighters are battling the flames on 4 fronts today.
You know, the conditions can change fast, so you need to get moving out of whatever that vicinity is before the fire closes over the top of it.
Hot and dry conditions mean there is no let up for crews today.
The most recent one sparking just yesterday, already growing quickly and prompting evacuations in Grand County.
And it all adds up to major road closures throughout the mountains. How CDOT is asking you to change your weekend plans.
Good morning. I'm Eric Louver. Welcome to Denver7 News.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you for joining us. Right now, Colorado firefighters are in a race against time to get 4 large wildfires under control. And their job is being made even harder right now because of the hot and dry conditions.
The Pine Gulch fire is now the 4th largest on record in our state. The Grizzly Creek fire near Glenwood Springs and the Cameron Peak fire in Larimer County are both forcing evacuations. Meanwhile, another fire sparked yesterday in Grand County. The Williams Fork fire already burned through 2 square miles.
Denver7 Sloan Dickey is live for us in Eagle County this morning. Sloan, Coloradans are dealing with so much destruction and heartbreak right now, but Governor Polis says the Grizzly Creek fire in particular is a top priority.
Yeah, the Grizzly Creek fire was spreading significantly yesterday. They doubled in size according to officials over 24 hours. That's what we received yesterday. It does look as though the flames and smoke have died down a little bit from what we saw last night. We were watching it from this ridge last night with Gypsum residents. We're standing next to the town of Gypsum, and they were concerned that the flames would head into their direction. Now, I'm just going to give you a look at the flames. If you take a look here, and the smoke at least is what you can see right now. The last update that we received said the flames doubled in size over 48 hours because of those hot and dry conditions, along with a strong wind. At the moment, those conditions appear to have cooled and calmed, which should be a promising sign for firefighters. Here in Eagle County, there are still some evacuation orders in effect for 2 neighborhoods, Coulter Creek Estates and Buck Point Drive, along with other evacuation watches for the fire. The official I spoke with last night said the fire has been quite a challenge to fight because of the steep nature of the terrain here and the unfavorable conditions. However, they seem to have calmed and cooled as we've seen right now. Of course, those conditions can change on a dime, so we will have to be watching this, and officials will be watching this as well as they continue to fight those flames throughout the weekend. Reporting in Eagle County, Sloan Dickey, Denver7.
And the heat not letting up. All right, Sloan. About 60 miles west of Fort Collins, the Cameron Peak fire has doubled in size. That was yesterday. It's already burned through 7 square miles. Evacuation orders were issued last night for people near the Long Draw Reservoir. Crews want to evacuate hikers, campers, and people living in the area. Meanwhile, the Williams Fork fire is burning in the Henderson Mill area. Mandatory evacuations have been issued for those who live in the immediate vicinity of the fire. Crews say beetle kill in this remote area is making things even more difficult as it dramatically speeds up how quickly trees burn. Those pale in comparison to the sheer size of the Pine Gulch fire on the western slope. It's now more than 114,000 square miles. That's bigger than Arvada, Wheat Ridge, and Lakewood combined. It is now the 4th largest wildfire recorded in Colorado. We'll take a live look outside this morning. As you would expect, smoke pretty much taking over Denver despite our distance from the fires. And it's a Denver7 Weather Action Day because our air quality, Katie, is really taking a hit.
We are under that air quality warning, Eric. We're waking up to hazy skies across the Front Range, even extending into the eastern plains because of the wildfire activity out to the west. You can see from our satellite and radar composite an air quality warning in place for Grand Junction into our central high country, Eagle, Aspen, Vail, into Glenwood Springs, and then up and down the I-25 corridor from Denver north through Fort Collins and Greeley. You can see what we're anticipating for today for the wildfire smoke. It'll be bad at times, especially over Eagle and portions of Vail and into Gypsum. Downtown Denver as well, it is going to be pretty hazy, so if you do suffer from any respiratory issues, please keep that in mind. In terms of temperatures, it's nice and mild outside right now. We're in the upper 50s, Broomfield, downtown Denver, and into the mountains, 40s and some low 50s. It's going to be hot once again this afternoon. Mid-90s expected over a lot of the plains. A slight cool down and a better chance for a little rain. I'll show you when and where coming up.
All right, Katie. If you're itching to get out and do something today, CDOT is warning don't head west. The department is urging travelers just to avoid I-70. We've got a live look at I-70 at the No Name Tunnel. The interstate between Gypsum and Glenwood is still shut down due to the fires. Governor Pola says it could be days before that reopens. In the meantime, CDOT is asking you to consider other options north and south along the Front Range. Meanwhile, Independence Pass has reopened on a limited basis. That means it's not a free-for-all, and not everyone should head up there to take the detour. Only cars and SUVs will be allowed on the road. No commercial semi-trucks are allowed.
Breaking this morning, 2 people are dead after a shooting in Aurora. Police responded to East Cornell Circle just north of Cherry Creek Reservoir before midnight. There they found a man and woman who had been shot. Both were taken to the hospital but did not survive. And officers say it's not clear if the two knew each other. They're now trying to figure out what led up to the attack.
Last night, family and friends gathered in Erie to remember Bonnie Skinner. Police say she and her family were attacked by a man with a machete at their home in Brighton on Tuesday. Tragically, Skinner did not survive. Skinner was a kitchen manager at the Rusty Melon in Erie. She had a passion for cooking, and many called her as a second mom. Lonnie McNair is now facing several charges, including first-degree murder.
A judge awarded a victim of revenge porn nearly $40,000 in one of the first civil trials to use that statute in our state. Christina Hendershot sued her ex-boyfriend after he found an explicit video on her phone, and he then sent it to her ex-husband without her consent. Her attorney says this could be the first time a civil case has gone to trial where they won and received damages.
Well, it's a big deal because I think that it sets an example. I think that to some degree, it sets a precedent here that, victims have recourse in civil court when somebody either steals their intimate images or takes an intimate image and distributes it without their consent.
And this law is rarely used, even in criminal court. Since the law went into effect in 2014, there have only been 35 criminal cases charged in Denver.
Leaders in D.C. are struggling to reach an agreement on a new stimulus deal, and funding for the Postal Service is now part of that debate. As USPS struggles to keep its finances in order, you're going to see some price hikes this fall. Denver7 Sean TOWLE is live for us this morning. And Sean, this is going to affect package prices too.
Yeah, the U.S. Postal Service is planning a temporary price hike that will go into effect from October 18th to December 27th of this year. The price increase is due to the high demand for online items. Package shipments will see a rate increase anywhere from 24 cents to as much as $1.50. The USPS filed the notice with the Postal Regulatory Commission. The price hike is expected to still keep the Postal Service rates competitive while providing the agency with much needed revenue. The Postal Service will stop taking letter collection boxes off streets also in the western United States following accusations the removals would further limit some voters the ability to send back mail-in ballots, and that includes Colorado. In response to this, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold said, quote, "While I am concerned about service disruptions and other attacks on the U.S. Postal Service from President Trump and members of his administration, I am confident that Coloradans will have their voices heard in November's election." So a lot going on here with the Postal Service over the last couple of days, and we'll have more about the worries those who get their prescriptions in the mail feel later on in the show. Back to you guys.
Sean, thank you. And amid the spat over funding USPS, a major postal workers union is throwing its support behind Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. The National Association of Letter Carriers says President Trump is hostile to the post office. He called for an end to collective bargaining and proposed some service cuts. The union, which represents about 300,000 current and retired members, says Biden will be a fierce ally and defender of the United States Postal Service.
The first human case of West Nile virus in Colorado this year was reported in Delta County. State health leaders say they've been testing mosquitoes across the state since June to prevent the spread of the virus to humans. They remind everyone if you're out camping or hiking to use insect repellent. West Nile has already been found in mosquitoes in Larimer and Weld counties.
Well, the woman who gave birth in a Denver jail cell has reached a $500,000 settlement with the city and Denver Health. Diana Sanchez will receive $160,000 from the city and $320,000 from Denver Health. She will share that money with her son. Denver Health has also agreed to annual mandatory training on treating pregnant inmates.
A Larkspur man is recovering after being bitten by a bear outside his home. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says the man was bitten on the hand yesterday morning. He went to the hospital for treatment. He'll be okay. He was released. Officers tracked the bear and put it down. They say it looks like someone was feeding the animal, which can lead to behavioral problems. And CPW officers say feeding wildlife could be the reason this bull elk has a tire around its neck. It was spotted between Conifer and the Mount Evans Wilderness area. Officers say it's likely he stuck his head through the tire during the winter when he didn't have antlers or when he was young. Officers say it's a good reminder to clean up your property so animals don't get tangled up. And it comes just days after this moose was spotted with rope tangled around its antlers in Boulder County.
Business is slowly picking up for some airlines, but some customers are still a little wary about flying. DIA's busiest airline, United, has partnered with the Cleveland Clinic and Clorox to keep customers and employees safe. Staff have their temperature taken each time they check in for their shift. Every hard surface on the plane is cleaned and then electrostatically sanitized. And as for the sneeze guards and all the kiosks, mechanics at United's hangar cranked out more than 5,000 guards as part of their safety efforts.
You know, you could find these online, very expensive, long lead times. They came to us and they said, can you do it fast? And that's what we did. The guys stepped up and made them, I mean, in record time, record numbers.
And if customers do not have masks, United will provide them one.